Welcome back to the She Thrives Influential Women podcast. I am your host, Lori Dowling, soul embodiment healer for women, as well as a award-winning published co-author, public speaker, and columnist to the Rochester Women's Online magazine. And it is so good to be back. I am sure many of you have noticed that there has been a long break since the last episode has been launched of this podcast. And I'm sure you have also noticed that there has been a little bit of change in my name and how I'm identifying myself. From women's empowerment coach to soul embodiment healer, from Lori Murphy to Lori Dowling. Obviously, over the course of the last several months, there has been a lot of transition and life change, which resulted in me putting the podcast on hold and navigating life and essentially doing a lot of healing, a lot of growth, coming into full alignment, and navigating what that looks like for the future of the podcast, my business, my life as a whole, and, you know, so many other things. So I am here today coming back to you after this long and much needed break to be I'd say, operating at a higher vibration in a totally different space. And it feels amazing. And it is good to be back. It really, truly is, because there was a part of me that wasn't sure I would be returning to the podcast. My coaching practice has been rebranded from, the empowerment coaching to more soul embodiment healing. And I'll do a dive into what that looks like and what the difference is, but I still support women and I still have a very strong message of empowering women, but it's on a more deeper and more embodied, you know, it's more embodied, it's deeper, and it's not what it used to be, but in a very, very, very good way. So how does that work with the podcast? Well, I still have this message to be able to guide women through their journeys. I still have this message of hope, and I still have this this platform to be able to share not only my experience, but to bring other women on so that they have a platform and a place to come share their stories. But I feel like the way the podcast is going to be restructured is that there will be more solo episodes rather than the interviews. As much as I love the interviews, I just feel like there needs to be more talk of embodiment and healing in the journey that I've been on, as well as the supporting other women out there all over the world and allowing them to have a space to be able to come. There still has to be a community. She Thrives was always meant to be a community, influential women. Women who are leaders, who want to be leaders, women who are feeling that they are still shrinking themselves to fit into spaces that they don't belong in. This is a place for you to come so that you can rise above that and stop shrinking yourself. How many of us find ourselves on a daily basis shrinking ourselves, silencing ourselves to stay in a little tiny box that doesn't align with who we are? And I feel like sometimes we don't always realize that at first. We just know it's not comfortable. So if you sit there every day feeling anxious or feeling like something doesn't feel right, something doesn't feel like it's driving or connecting, chances are you're in a space that you don't belong in, but you're staying small so that you can stay there because it's comfortable, because it feels like it might be safe, right? And this podcast has always been designed to be a source, a resource to help guide you through that, to guide you out of that. I am here to support you through that. So if you haven't already followed this podcast, do not forget to click that subscribe button. Do not forget to go into the the description of this podcast where my contacts are going to be. Book a call with me and let's see how we can support you in getting you out of those spaces so that you can rise, so that you can thrive, so that you can be big and loud and vibrant and be that full vibration that you were put on this earth to be. And that's why I'm here. And I feel like I had to sit back and look at how I wanted to proceed forward with all of this. In the ending of my marriage, I really had to take a lot of space for clarity. So there was, a lot of lessons that have been learned along the way and getting the clarity of how I want things to look. And now that I have a better understanding and clarity of what I want for the future of my practice with coaching women one-on-one, launching events, doing workshops virtually, in person, however those unfold, collaborations, this podcast. Sometimes we have to step back and take that space to gain that clarity. And sometimes that space can take weeks, days, or months, or even a couple of years. But in order to gain that clarity, you have to get silent and you have to take that space, which is essentially what I've been focusing on and doing over the last few months. And now here we are, the year of the fire horse, the year things are going to really move forward and fast. And now things are in alignment and things are actually coming into, coming full circle. I'm ready to really start moving forward again with the things that lit my soul on fire to be able to serve women globally. And that's why this platform exists. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for those that are returning and have always supported this podcast, and those that are coming forward with it now and are hearing it for the first time. Go check out the previous episodes. Go hear what the guests that have been on the show have had to say and see how this podcast has already served women. And I'm excited to see how it continues to serve women as we move forward. So I'm sure some of you are sitting there kind of curious a little bit more about those life changes that I've been talking about, you know, the transitions of the marriage. So, and ending and some other things that ended. So let me just dive in a little bit on that. So I was in a marriage for just short of 3 years. And unfortunately, it did not work out for many reasons. And I'm not going to get into details and I'm not going to go into, sharing the nitty gritty. I'm not going to bash the ex-husband because that's not who I want to be or show up in this world as somebody that comes from a place of anger. I was angry. I was angry for a long time, which is part of the reason I had to step back a little bit. And furthermore, back in October, I did record an episode and I did post it, and I had to take it down because I did discuss a little bit more detail on the situation. Um, Not in a negative light, but it could have been taken that way. So I was asked to remove it. So I did, and had taken a little bit more and hadn't recorded or posted another podcast episode since. Um, it did make me angry that I had to take that down in the moment. However, I can understand why I had to. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, then maybe it just wasn't the message that needed to be heard at that time. So here I am coming from 6 months out of it in a different space, and can honestly say that, you know, it just didn't work, right? It didn't work out. And we have moved on with our lives and are navigating life and these changes in our own ways. I don't know about how he's going forth doing so, but I do continue to wish him well. And I hope that he finds fulfillment in his life and happiness. Unfortunately, had to, it just, it no longer aligned or served the purpose that it needed to serve in our lives. And that was just basically how I'm going to leave that. And so that was September. And through the midst of all of that, I was also in a job that really drained my spirits, my energy. Um, it was a very high demand job that required me to almost, I felt like, perform perfectly, which is unrealistic. So after about 3 years of that, it was about 2 weeks after my marriage ended, the job ended as well. And I feel like the two areas of my life that I struggled to find alignment in the most, that were depleting my energy, that were causing me a lot of anxiety and a lot of pain, these two areas of my life were removed simultaneously at the same time. So it was like literally one day I woke up and nothing in my life was the same. Everything had changed like that. And I really needed to take a lot of space to figure out what that looked like. What were my next steps? I was doing a lot of shadow work and I started integrating a lot of somatic healing into my daily life. And I started to really get in touch with the more spiritual side of of me, right? Getting connected spiritually and realizing that I had a very strong intuitive side, that I have a really powerful, this a beautiful gift to be able to read people, to read energy, and that am a natural born healer. So what does that look like? So I spent a lot of time out in nature. I would take my journal with me and I'd find a spot, usually by like a body of water, because I'm drawn to water. I'm drawn to streams and lakes and rivers. And if it's a body of water outside of a mud puddle, you're probably going to find me near it, right? Like that's like where I love to be the most. And I would just bring a protein bar, my bottle of water, and my journal, and I would just sit and I would reflect. I would reflect on the past, the present, what I wanted for my future. I would do a lot of manifesting and praying and letting go. And there would be times where I would be completely just in a state of just zen, calm by sitting by that water. And there were also times where I would cry hysterically and just let it all out because the worst things that we can do for ourselves is suppress our emotions and keep things tucked in, right? I'm not sure if you've ever just taken some time to just release your emotions through movement, through deep breathing, just allowing yourself to cry, giving yourself that space, and then feeling 10 times lighter afterwards, because you're no longer carrying it. And then you'll also notice your immune system strengthens because now you're not storing all of that into your gut, which is causing inflammation, by the way, killing your nervous system and your immune system, and finding yourself constantly sick and under the weather and just in a constant state of stress and anxiety. And, you know, it was amazing to be able to have the space to do that and to finally feel a sense of peace, and it was unfamiliar. And I realized that I was really comfortable in chaos. And when there was no more chaos, I felt like I was trying to create it or find it. and seek it because I didn't know what peace really felt like. And when I stepped into that realization, like, oh, oh, well, I don't want to be in chaos anymore. And I still don't. You know what I mean? I still have no desire to be around chaos or drama. Like now it's actually peace is comfortable and the chaos is uncomfortable. And when I will admit there's been a couple of instances recently where I have found myself stepping into chaotic spaces and chaotic situations, and I've stepped back and said, I don't like the way this feels. I don't want to be in this because this isn't who I am anymore. So it's like sometimes I feel like the universe and God are putting me in little spaces just to see what I'll do with it. Will I stay there? Will I find comfort there? Will I want to, you know, will I open up my eyes and say, yeah, no, this isn't where I want to be? And I think that it's great because the awareness is now there. Like I have a sense of awareness of, okay, well, this doesn't feel good. This feels chaotic. This doesn't feel like it's going to match the life I'm creating whatsoever, and I can step back from it. Or I like to play around and find out if there's different spaces I can go into and still, maybe enjoy myself. But if it still feels chaotic, you have to look at why it still feels chaotic and if this is something you want to stay in and align with. It's really practicing discernment. And it's really been quite the education over the course of the last few months. I got to tell you, the lessons that I am learning is like, holy shit. I'm like, wow. I have stepped back and said to myself on many occasions too, like, what the, what did I just step into here? Like, what kind of alternate universe did I just step into? Because some of this stuff is stuff that I've never experienced before. It's weird, really weird. Or if I have experienced it, I haven't experienced it in a space of where I am at now, where I can actually sit back and be like, what what is this? I don't want that. Like, bye. And I'm not really sure I want to go into the details of these situations at this point in time, but I got to tell you, life is very, very interesting when you are looking at it from a different lens and a different scope. And you kind of can just sit back and observe and just take it all in, like, yeah, no, no, not my life, not what I want. That's kind of nice in a lot of ways to be able to kind of like have the awareness and to be able to just kind of sit back and evaluate and assess and be like, how does this work with what I'm working toward in my life? And I still to this moment, to this day, will still sit back and ask myself those questions when I step away from certain things. Like, is this aligning? Is this going to serve my mission? Is this going to help me? You know, and I'm really finding a lot of these lessons very, very well powerful. And I don't know how to even how I want to word this right now. It's just to to be where I'm at right now in my life and to sit back and be a witness to specific lifestyles or specific atmospheres and things that I normally would love more than anything to be a part of no longer fit. And I feel like we can't know and if it fits, if we don't explore it. Because life is full of experiences. This is the thing. Like, we are supposed to have experiences in life. Everything in life is an experience. Some experiences make us, some experiences break us, some teach us, and some shape us. It all shapes us in the end, actually, in my opinion. It's like it kind of all comes full circle to helping us find our way to where we're meant to be and who we're supposed to be. Like I have endured a lot of painful experiences in my life, and I have endured a lot of beautiful and wonderful experiences in my life, all of which have helped shape me into the woman that I am today. So I try to embrace experience and then step back and say, what can I learn from this? And how is this going to serve me in my future? And I think going through the transitions that I've gone through over the last 6 months and the last several months, and doing the shadow work and coming out from behind those shadows and really evolving has helped me appreciate experiences, whether good or bad, a lot more than I used to, and have more gratitude for them. And just be okay, you know, being okay with where I'm at right now. I've always been, I have found that I tend to be a person that's always trying to get 10 steps ahead fast, climbing a ladder at rapid speeds because I feel like maybe it's for value. Like, I won't have value unless I am this successful, making this amount of money and doing this, this, and this. But the truth is that that's not the case, because I am very valuable just where I'm at currently. Because where I'm at currently is still in transition, and I am still picking up the pieces of the life that I left behind and coming into the life that I'm stepping into. And there's a lot of components and things that come with that. But every day I wake up with the intention of taking one step forward to creating that life, to moving forward. And if that means I've had to step away from certain things for a while, that doesn't mean that I have stopped completely. It just means everything had to get put on pause so that I could focus on what needed to be focused on in that moment in order for me to continue to move forward. So I guess now I'm in a state of, okay, now I know what this looks like. Now I know what I want to do. Now I know how I got to do it. Now that I am comfortable and okay with where I'm at, where my feet are planted in this moment, I don't need to be 10 steps ahead to get there. I can be right here where I am and just take those small, sustainable shifts forward. I feel like I'll get a lot further along than trying to push myself to be further along than I'm supposed to be, because where I'm at right now is exactly where I should be. Hmm. I'm just letting that sink in for a minute. Being exactly where I'm supposed to be. Having acceptance. It's a beautiful thing when you could just sit back and be like, yeah, I feel that. So, how many of you can say that you can look at where you're at in your life right now and just trust that this is where you're supposed to be? You're taking the action steps forward. You're putting forth the effort. It doesn't have to be massive steps and rushing. It can be something small and sustainable. You don't have to constantly feel like you're rushing to climb to the top, that you can just take those steps forward and just know that where you are in this moment is exactly where you're supposed to be. How many of us can say that we can find comfort in that? Because I don't always, but right now I do. And just saying that was just kind of like, okay, okay, I'm good with that. And I believe that the healing and the inner work has helped me be able to get to this point of acceptance and awareness and just being embodied and to being in a place of calm and peace. I think that having the tools to regulate my nervous system and learning to trust myself again. I mean, the healing journey has really brought me to this place. Healing isn't just about mindset. It's not about like how you're viewing the world. It's not about always being positive. It's really about, you know, what lives in the body, right? The suppressed emotions and the releasing. You know what I mean? Healing lives in our stories. Healing lives in the moments where we finally stop running from ourselves and start listening. This season of my life has been about reclaiming my voice, my peace, and my power. And it's been a beautiful season. And I've met some incredible people that have really helped shape me into that, who have supported me. My community has grown exponentially over the course of the last 6 months. The people that have come into my life that have served such a beautiful purpose, it's incredible. Some of them were short term and temporary and are not in my life right now, and that's okay. I appreciate them just the same. They impacted me in a way that I will never forget. But some people are not meant to stay. They serve their purpose, and you have a beautiful experience with them, and you can hold them in your heart, say thank you, and move forward. Some of them are in my life and are going to stay in my life because we've formed beautiful bonds and friendships and have so many plans for collaborations and encourage each other's growth. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful gift when you can have that community and those people, you know, the ones that stay, the ones that don't, um, they all bring some form of light into your life. You know, I have said that my marriage was my biggest teacher, my biggest lesson. And I am so grateful that I had that experience. I am so grateful that I had that time because it forced me to look at me. It forced me to look at things that I needed to look at that I never knew were there. It forced me into healing on a whole new level. So I'm grateful for that. 100%. It was worth it. in the end. So, the energy that I want to bring forward into this podcast is coming from a place of embodiment, of healing, of growth, of transformation, of transition. I will be coming from a place of empowerment at a whole new level, love and light. Some of the stories may be the same. A lot of them are new. You are going to experience a totally different energy and vibe here. And that's what I want to be able to bring to you moving forward. There will be deeper conversations. There will be stories that are raw. She Thrives has always been about influencing women, but moving forward, it's about influential women who have walked through fire and turned their pain into power. That's going to be the sole purpose of this episode, of this whole podcast. So, what can you expect? Like I said, there will be plenty of solo episodes, but there will be occasional interviews, healing conversations, personal reflections, tools for growth. You're going to hear more solo conversations from me with deeper reflections because I want to be able to share more about about the shadow work. I want to share more about my journey with you and be more open and authentic and real. Not that I haven't always been, but this is going to be much more deeper and much more powerful. If you're listening to this and you are in the middle of your own healing journey, I want you to know something. You're not broken. You are becoming. You are evolving. And sometimes the most powerful chapters of our lives begin in the moments where everything seems to fall apart. Welcome back to She Thrives Influential Women Podcast. Please do not forget to leave a review, hit that subscribe button, share this episode with friends, bring people to this podcast because it is going to be life-changing. And I cannot wait for what's going to come in the next several episodes moving forward. Be a part of this community. Go to the links in the description, book a call with me, and let's see how I can better support you on your healing journey.